Good morning. Welcome to NewsWare's Trade Talk for Monday, July 13th. Okay, let's get into the action. Take a look at the S&Ps, which are trading lower. We're down 0.38% this morning, about 0.4%. The Middle East events over the weekend still causing a bit of a stir. But we do have the start of earnings season coming up. So, it's kind of discounting a lot of that, negativity that happened over the weekend with between the U.S. and Iran. I mean, over the weekend, Iran struck a commercial vessel and announced the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, and that prompted the U.S. to do fresh airstrikes. President Trump's out there saying that the Strait of Hormuz is open. That conflicting, comments are causing oil prices to spike. Iran did respond with retaliatory strikes on U.S. military bases in Jordan with additional attacks that were intercepted on Kuwait and Qatar. But, this situation is continuing to play out. We're going to continue to see these, minor skirmishes happen, and the market's kind of getting used to it. That's why you're not seeing dramatic spikes in oil. You're not seeing dramatic spikes in the S&Ps whenever this conflict turns, hostile. We're still hoping that some peace accord comments will be made later today or at least this week. But on the economic front, we got two Fed governors scheduled to speak today. But, really, the attention is shifting to tomorrow, which is a very busy economic calendar with the CPI data coming out and several speeches from Fed officials. In corporate news, MGM, Barry Diller is supposedly in takeover talks. Riyadh Air, a Saudi Arabian airline, they're preparing to make plans for an order for a bunch of 787 planes. TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor, reported June revenue increase of 6.8%. But I will have to say that debt markets are showing some signs of concern over the recent surge in AI-related issuances. You look at those credit spreads, and they are widening. On the earnings front, listen, nothing today, but tomorrow morning we got Fastenal, FAST, we got Citigroup, C, we got Wells Fargo, WFC, we got Goldman Sachs, GS, Bank of America, BAC, and JP Morgan, JPM, all scheduled to report earnings. Looking overseas, and we're taking a look at the DAX. The DAX is higher by, 0.07 or 16 points, 16.98 points. There's some strength in the insurance sector. London, the FTSE's down 0.28%. Energy stocks are higher, while mining stocks are lower. The CAC in Paris is trading higher. It's just edging higher with some gains in the auto sector. Looking last night in Asia, we're looking at the Nikkei, which fell 1.92%. The index came under pressure from the escalating tensions in the Middle East and the prospect of higher interest rates. The Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index finished higher by 0.16%, and they did show gains in tech stocks and property stocks. China, the Shanghai Composite fell 2.06%. They're cautious because they got a lot of economic data coming out this week. Mining and tech stocks were definitely under pressure. We're looking over at oil this morning, and oil is gaining. We got WTI at $73.82. We got Brent at $78.55. That peace talks remain highly fragile. Hostilities are escalating over the weekend. Shipping to the Strait of Hormuz is being disrupted. Conflicting comments on whether the Strait of Hormuz is open or closed. This is what's causing the basis for oil prices to spike higher today. In terms of earnings, listen, like I said, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, JP Morgan, these are the big banks. These are the banks that are going to be releasing earnings tomorrow morning. So you gotta trade those carefully and cautiously. In terms of economic reports, tomorrow's really the big day. Kevin Warsh, or the Federal Reserve Chairman, he's going to do his first semi-annual monetary policy testimony before Congress. That's going to start tomorrow morning, Tuesday a.m. at 10 a.m. Then on Wednesday, he's got to go in front of the Senate Banking Committee. And also tomorrow you get the CPI data. These are really what's going to happen. The key economic events on the calendar are really to tomorrow, not today. Now we'll turn our attention over to, stocks that are moving this market this morning. We've got Apple trading slightly higher this morning. They filed a lawsuit Friday afternoon alleging, theft of trade secrets occurring from OpenAI. This will go on for a long time. Meta Platforms trading a little lower this morning. They're expanding their data center in Louisiana to 5 gigawatts. What do we got Meta at this morning? Yeah, it's down 0.7%. Dow Jones, Boeing. Listen, next week is at Barnesboro International Air Show. This is where plane manufacturers like Boeing get orders. You already got some talk of an order coming in from a Saudi Arabian airline, but there's likely going to be more to be announced during this air show. Now, this air show is kind of key because it's not an annual air show; it's once every 2 years. So a lot of people do attend this air show, and that's happening next week. Next Monday it starts. Disney, there's a Wells Fargo note out there saying that Disney should ditch streaming and focus on license revenues for their movie catalog. Merger news, Diana Shipping extends Genco's tender offer to July 24th. And MGM casino operator, MGM Resorts, they're in talks to do a deal with Barry Diller. Now, Barry Diller already owns 24% of the company, so it's not a big move for him to double his position. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. In terms of catalyst calls, Illinois Toolworks, ITW, Citibank opens up a 90-day upside catalyst watch on the stock. Okay, now we're going to move on to today's pick of the day. And, I'm going to go with FAST, FAST. It's an earnings play. Earnings are coming out tomorrow morning. EPS is 33 cents. Expected move is 5.87%. You look at, Friday's call volume, 1,898 calls to 676 puts. 0.3 put to call ratio, like that. Open interest, 49K to 17K, like that. Major brokers raising price targets, like that. Me, I want to get in 46.50. That's kind of my entry point. That's what I'm hoping to get in at. I'm calling 46.50 as an entry. Stock did do a split earlier this year in May, so this is the first earnings report coming out. I do expect it to be positive. So my pick of the day, Fastenal, FASD, Frank Apple, Sam Tom at 46.50. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about the stocks that are hitting the tape in the last 15 minutes or so. Let's see if we see anything exciting. Trump, we're taking over the Strait of Hormuz. Penn Entertainment, ticker PENN, launches the Score Bet Sportsbook casino app. More pipelines could soon weaken Hormuz's grip on the markets. Yep. Except that, pipelines are stationary targets, so they're stationary. Iran does have drones. Bristol Myers says FDA accepted for one of its drugs. Positive. Yeah, there's a big conference going on right now, an Alzheimer's conference happening. And over the weekend, Biogen, they announced that their Alzheimer's drug, once weekly injection, showed data similar to efficiency, so as the IV version. Eli Lilly, LLY, they're going to be presenting today at that 2026 Alzheimer's Association conference today, so it could be something. SSP, DirecTV announced yesterday that a new multi-year agreement was made with EW Scripps. Remember, they were gone dark on DirecTV for the last month and a half. That's all I'm saying. Okay, now we're going to move on, talk about Friday's pick of the day. Listen, we went with Citigroup. Stock opened up at 141.52. It fell to 139.87. Now trading 141.79. So, my entry price is 138.50. Way off. With the low of 139.87, I was more than a buck away. So it never came close. But, you look at the opening price, you look at where the stock is this morning. Yeah, it's positive, but it didn't reach the 1%. So, you got to cost, It could still hit that today, but it didn't. I can't say that it's a win or a miss. It's kind of a flat one, but it is positive, so we'll be happy with that. All right, traders, that concludes today's podcast. You guys know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.